Welcome back. Junkies on 106.7 The Fan. Going to be joined by Spencer Tillman, CBS College football analyst, coming up at 8:40. Scheduled to join us shortly is Shaun O'Hara, former New York Giants offensive lineman, went to the Pro Bowl 3 times. Now he's with the NFL Network. Do you know the line on the Redskins game? I know Lurch probably knows it. What would your guess be? Monday Night Football, Redskins in Dallas to take on the Cowboys.
-6.
Keep going.
10.
10.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah,
They're going to win.
by that.
They're going to win. I thought maybe it was closer.
I wouldn't necessarily lay the 10, but they're going to win the game.
They're definitely going to win the game.
Yep.
And that's what's funny about all the shenanigans. We're going back and forth, and we'll get into it more later, probably in the 9 o'clock hour again, like we did early in the show, about who is exactly going to start a quarterback. Is Gruden playing games by leaving the door wide open for Robert? It doesn't really matter who they start. They're going to lose either way. I don't think the Cowboys are shaking in their boots.
They got to stumble at some point,
is suddenly out there.
Don't the Cowboys have to stumble at some point?
Yeah.
All teams trip up.
Yeah.
Of course. They still got to play Philly twice. I don't think it's going to be this week or Monday, next week.
I think what EB said earlier, I would go with it. 20% chance the Redskins
I think 8 times out of 10, the Dallas Cowboys on Monday night are going to beat this team. 8 times out of 10.
They've won 6 straight, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you their slip-up spot. I don't think it's Washington on Monday night. Don't think it's going to be Arizona the following week. It's not going to be at Jacksonville.
Well, then you're talking about a 9-1 start for a team that most people thought was going to be dreadful this year.
All right. I just don't think they'll lose those games. The way they're playing could be after the bye week when they play the Giants on the road. Could be there. And then they play Philly and Chicago. So I would bet on them the next 3 weeks.
So you're looking at them being a bye week. A 12-4 team?
They're 6-1. Maybe not. Maybe 11-5.
You don't see them coming back to earth, though.
I mean, unless they go on a losing streak right there after the bye. I can't imagine they're going to lose too many games before that.
We'll talk to our next guest about it. 3-time Pro Bowler, won a Super Bowl championship with the New York Giants, now an NFL Network analyst. It's Shaun O'Hara. Hey, Shaun.
Top of the morning to you.
Hey, how you doing? We were just looking at the early line on this Redskins Cowboys game. It's 10. It's 10. And I was just saying, at some point the Cowboys are going to be you got to believe they're going to trip up at some point. But they've surprised everybody. Nobody expected this from the Cowboys. Talk about what you've seen looking at film. What has impressed you the most with this Cowboys run early in the season?
Well, I mean, to me, it's twofold. I think the defense has certainly outplayed everyone's expectations. Getting Orlando Scandrick back has absolutely helped. But when they lost DeMarcus Ware and Jason Hatcher in free agency, and Sean Lee went down, you looked at this defense and you said, boy, there really isn't a lot of star power on that side of the football. But they've really done a good job of just playing their roles. And certainly I think that's complementary football to what the offense is doing. When your defense is well rested and you look over there and your offense is just churning up yards and chewing up clock, I think it really helps out. So, I think the biggest surprise for the Dallas Cowboys to me has been how well their offense has played. I think if you would have told me before the season started that DeMarco Murray would have done something that no other running back in NFL history had done in 7 straight 100-yard games, I think we all would have laughed at that. But they're really impressive up front. What the offensive line has been able to do with really 2 young guys, with Travis Frederick in his second year at center and Zach Martin, the rookie at right guard. They've really done a great job in the run game and protecting Tony Romo as well.
Well, that's my next question is Murray, and you mentioned him. He's on pace for like 420 carries, Shaun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a crazy number. I think that would set a record. I mean, at some point they got to dial that back, right? Or you just ride your horse.
Yeah, I mean, logically, you look at it and say, hey, maybe we should scale it back. But, I think you start looking at that when you have a playoff spot secured. But, as you guys mentioned, this is kind of dangerous territory for the Cowboys as we know them, because as soon as everybody starts giving them praise and hype, and now they're 10-point underdogs, this is usually when they kind of lay an egg. So, I think that the injury aspect is a concern for DeMarco Murray. He hasn't really been able to stay healthy, but I think he's aware of that. And I definitely think that if I'm the Cowboys, I'm much more interested in having him healthy for a postseason run than I am at trying to break some, regular season record. I think just by nature too, as the second half of the season comes around and teams really start keying in on your tendencies. Look, you mentioned a Vegas line. Well, here's my line for the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to run the ball 100% of the time on first down. That's just what they do. So teams are gonna bring 9 guys up to the line of scrimmage and say, we're not going to let you be in 2nd and 5. We're going to make sure you're in 2nd and 9. So there's going to be opportunities for Terrence Williams, Des Bryant, Jason Witten. We saw Gavin Escobar go off on Sunday. There's going to be opportunity for other guys to make plays.
Joined by 3-time Pro Bowler Shaun O'Hara, now an analyst on the NFL Network. All right, let's get to another injury situation. That's here in D.C. and Washington. We've been talking about it. You're a guy who played in the league, battled through injuries at times. RG is going to take some tests tomorrow, and we're just knowing that he's probably going to pass them all. And Jay Gruden's going to have to make a decision. Does he bring him back on the field, or does he go with Colt McCoy or even Kirk Cousins? I guess he said he's going to go with Colt McCoy as a starter if RG3 is not ready to go. What would you do with him?
Well, you threw me for a loop. You were talking injuries. I thought we were going to talk about Brian Arakpo. But
no, he's done.
He's an afterthought here.
He's a memory now.
It's crazy.
Yeah, okay. Well, I tell you, what I would do, I would play Colt McCoy. I would even play Kirk Cousins before I played RG3 at this point. Hasn't everybody down in Washington learned their lesson with RG3 about rushing him back?
You would hope.
Let's give him a little more time. And yeah, just because he's medically cleared, that's great. That doesn't mean that you're ready to go on the field and play. And I think, especially at the quarterback position, listen, Robert's still a young player. I think, when Aaron Rodgers broke his collarbone and came back last year and played really well, I think a lot of that was because he'd been in that offense for a long time. He knew that offense in and out. There was nothing that he really had to practice timing-wise. He got that back rather quickly, but that's not who RG3 is right now in his career. So I think, number one, it's an easy decision for the team. Who gives my team the best chance to win? I think Colt McCoy does, just by what he showed in taking care of the football. Kirk Cousins got benched because he threw 2 more interceptions.
Yep.
And he was costing his team wins. When you look at the Jets situation at quarterback, their defense has been good. They just need a quarterback that doesn't lose football games. Well, that's what Jay Gruden is trying to find. Give me a quarterback that's not going to lose me a football game. I'm not worried about the guy that's going to throw for 350 yards. And I think Colt McCoy, he got rid of the football. I thought that the one thing that Kirk was really struggling with was his on third downs and on blitz downs. He was not seeing the pressure as well, and he was getting himself in trouble. And so I think for me it's a no-brainer. It's Colt McCoy. And it's not that he's going to go out and wow you. And, yeah, it helps when your first throw it goes to Pierre Garçon and he goes for 70 yards, but you can't expect that to happen all the time. But I think RG3, give him some time, let him get some practice under his belt and kind of get his timing back.
Well, what's a fair timetable? We've been kicking this around for a lot of the season so far. These quarterbacks, I almost feel bad for them. I mean, the bonus babies, they get longer evaluation periods, obviously. This is Robert's 3rd season. But I'm telling you, Shaun, if he stumbles here, in this comeback, whenever it starts, people are ready to cut bait. And I don't know if that's fair or not. I mean, I get 3 seasons probably is fair. I don't know. If you're a 4th-round draft pick like Kirk Cousins, you get about 10 or 11 starts, it seems. And if you stumble, they cut bait. If you're a Brian Hoyer, you might get fewer. What is fair for these quarterbacks? Because, back in the day, a guy like, Troy Aikman or Peyton Manning could throw 30 interceptions in their rookie year, and they'd still be given the ball and trot them out there, and you just kind of grind through it. But some of these quarterbacks today, they don't get that same window of opportunity.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I mean, look at Sam Bradford. He's a perfect example. I mean, he was the last of those $50 million quarterbacks, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And when you look at how much money they were throwing at those quarterbacks prior to the new CBA, you gave that guy every single opportunity to be successful because you had so much invested in him. I think you're right that now with the new CBA, I mean, these quarterbacks, Andrew Luck, I think his contract was a maximum of $25 million. So, for these quarterbacks, if after 3 years or even 2 years, if they're not who you thought they were, it's a lot easier for teams to cut bait. And for RG3, maybe a little bit different scenario because what Washington gave up to get him.
Right.
And so I think they may be a little bit more invested. But what I think that really comes down to is, yes, performance on the field matters. But I think you go into it and you look at what type of player is he? Is he the type of player that we're constantly having to get in to watch film, and I'm constantly having to remind him of, hey, this is what we talked about yesterday. Okay, you remember you got to carry it over to practice today. If that's the type of quarterback that you have, then it's an easy choice. But if you have the type of quarterback that, man, he is in here, on Monday mornings, he's prepped. When he comes to meetings, he's already got a list of the things that he did wrong, the plays that he needs to go over. He's a pleasure to coach. He's a football junkie. I think that changes the time frame on that. And I think, speaking specifically to RG3, I do not know him personally. But I think one of the things that can really hinder quarterbacks in the NFL is success early on in their career. Because they start to believe that they're good because of who they are, not what they did to get there. And I think we saw that with RG3. His rookie year, he burst onto the scene.
Right.
Hey, this was easy. This game was easy. It's not. Look at Peyton Manning. Look at Tom Brady. Look at how hard those guys work, even in a preseason game, just to give themselves a chance in a regular season game. That's one of the things that you look at with quarterbacks. Talking
to Shaun O'Hara, former Giant, won a Super Bowl with them, played in some Pro Bowls. Now he's working for the NFL Network. Shaun, switching over to the AFC, buddy. As you mentioned, Andrew Luck. And I think, if everyone had to put their money on it right now, you probably would assume that Brady and Manning are the favorites in the AFC. But the way that Andrew Luck is playing, the way that their defense is playing, it's a whole new ballgame, in my opinion. Not saying that Indianapolis could go to Denver in the playoffs and win. That's a tall task. But they are more of a player now. They have to be in the discussion with the way they're playing. They're running the ball better. All right, it's not great, but it's better than it has been the last couple of years. Their defense certainly is better, and Andrew Luck is better. So I think he has to be in the discussion. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think Andrew is playing phenomenal football. T.Y. Hilton is really made some explosive plays for them. I think you mentioned the run game, and that's certainly an aspect of it. Ahmad Bradshaw has really played well. I think he has 6 receiving touchdowns as a running back, which is unheard of. But I think, Andrew Luck, I mean, there's just something about him. It never, he bounces back from a turnover or a bad throw or a bad play better than, any quarterback in the league. He's got that great demeanor that you love to have as a quarterback. But I definitely think he's right there. You mentioned Tom Brady, and Tom Brady statistically and with what he has around him, he's kind of fallen down. You might even say Andrew Luck has surpassed Tom Brady even, just in terms of offensive categories and statistics. I mean, what the Colts are doing right now with with their 2 tight ends, Dwayne Allen and Coby Fleener, having Reggie Wayne back, and then Akeem Nicks is your other guy out there. I mean, if you're a defensive coordinator, you're really scratching your head at how you're going to try to slow them down.
Shaun, it's been fun having you on. Shaun O'Hara from the NFL Network. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
Right, thanks for having me.
Okay, appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Coming up next, we switch gears. We talk some college football. Lurch's Spencer Tillman, CBS, joins us next on The Fan.